8. P47D Thunderbolt. A P47D Thunderbolt, nicknamed Dottie May, is a historic aircraft recovered from Lake Trounsee in Austria. Its tail number, 4229150, holds the distinction of being the last USAAF aircraft lost in action in the European theater during World War II. The recovery operation happened on June 13, 2005, after the plane had spent 60 years on the lakebed. The operation was carried out in secrecy by warbird recovery experts, despite the damage caused by its ditching in the lake on VE Day. The aircraft was in surprisingly good condition. The Thunderbolt was one of the 12,602 produced during World War II. Notably, less than 1 in 1,000 of these R-2800 powered fighter bombers survive in airworthy condition today. After the recovery, the plane was carefully restored, most likely in Austria, before being moved to its permanent home in the USA. The city of Evansville, Indiana, where Republic had a plant during the war, expressed interest in displaying the plane. The story of the Dottie May is a testament to the resilience and durability of historic aircraft, and its recovery from Lake Trounsee is a significant event for the preservation of aviation history. 7. The Nuestra Señora de Atocha. The Nuestra Señora de Atocha, a Spanish galleon, is one of the most famous shipwrecks of all time. Built in Havana during 1620, it was part of a fleet that sailed from the New World across the sea to Spain. The ship was heavily loaded with treasure, including 40 tons of gold and silver, and around 70 pounds or 31.7 kilograms of Colombian emeralds. In 1622, the Atocha was hit by a hurricane, causing it to sink. Of the 265 people on board at the time, only 5 survived by clinging to the mizzenmast, the only part of the ship still above the water. The Spanish tried to recover the valuable cargo, but the hatches were locked shut, and a second hurricane destroyed the shipwreck, causing it to be lost without a trace. Over 300 years later, in 1969, the legendary deep-sea explorer Mel Fisher started a quest to find the Atocha's treasure. Despite countless challenges, including the loss of 3 crew members and a lengthy legal battle with the state of Florida, Fisher stayed determined. His team finally found silver bars in 1973, and the galleon's cannons just 2 years later. In 1985, Fisher discovered the shipwreck of the Nuestra Señora de Atocha somewhere off the Florida Keys. The cargo's value is estimated to be worth about $400 million today. It includes 24 tons of silver bullion, ingots, and coins, as well as 125 gold bars and discs, and 1,200 pounds or 544 kilograms of silverware. Other items of great historical importance were also recovered, like 20 bronze cannons, navigational instruments, and Native American artifacts. This treasure led to the Atocha being declared the most valuable shipwreck in the world by Guinness World Records back in 2014. 6. The Queseria Treasure. The Queseria Treasure is a remarkable underwater discovery that took place off the coast of Queseria, Israel. In February 2015, a scuba diver named Zvika Fayer was exploring the ocean floor when he suddenly noticed a slight glimmer in the sand. Upon closer inspection, he realized it was a gold coin containing Arabic script on both sides. Fayer and his diving companions eventually found more coins, realizing that they'd stumbled upon the bounty of a shipwreck. They quickly contacted Queseria officials, who alerted the Israeli Antiquities Authority, IAA. Despite skepticism, Fayer and his team were able to convince them of the urgency of recovering the coins thanks to an impending storm. The treasure included hundreds of silver and bronze Roman coins from the mid-3rd century CE, and a hoard of silver coins from the Mamluk period. Other fascinating artifacts were also located, like a bronze figurine in the form of an eagle, several bronze bells, pottery vessels, and an iron anchor In addition to these, a gold ring engraved with the figure of the Good Shepherd, a well-known symbol of Jesus in early Christian art, was recovered. This discovery is significant since it provides a look into the trade and commerce that went on in the region during the Roman and Mamluk periods. The Queseria Treasure is a testament to the history that lies under the sea, waiting to be discovered. It offers valuable insights into the past and is a continuous subject of study for both archaeologists and historians. 5. The San Jose Shipwreck. The San Jose Shipwreck is one of the most fascinating and valuable maritime discoveries ever. The San Jose was a Spanish galleon that sank in 1708 in the middle of a battle with the British near the coast of Colombia. It was carrying a massive amount of treasure, including gold, silver, emeralds, and jewelry, from the colonies of South America over to Spain. The estimated value of the cargo is around $17 billion as of 2023. The shipwreck has been dubbed the Holy Grail of shipwrecks, thanks to its immense wealth and historical significance. The location of the San Jose remained a mystery for centuries, until it was finally located in 2015 by the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, WHOI, with a remotely operated vehicle, ROV. The ROV captured stunning photos of the wreckage, revealing the cannons, coins, ingots, and plates that survived the explosion and deep sea. The discovery was announced by the Colombian government, which claimed ownership of the wreck and all of its contents. But the claim was disputed by Spain, who argued that the San Jose was a ship of state and protected by international law. The legal battle over the treasure is still ongoing, as is the debate over the ethical and cultural implications of salvaging the shipwreck at all. The San Jose is not only a treasure trove, but also a time capsule that offers a peek into the colonial era and the War of the Spanish Succession. It's a testament to the maritime prowess, the economic ambitions, and political conflicts of the 18th century. It is also a reminder of the human cost of war and greed, since over 600 people died in the sinking of the San Jose. The San Jose shipwreck is a unique and priceless piece of heritage that deserves respect and preservation. Do you have a favorite shipwreck? Let us know in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the video so far. 4. Cronin Cheese. A Swedish warship called the Cronin sank in 1676 during a naval battle with Denmark and the Netherlands. It was one of the largest and most powerful ships during its time, capable of carrying 126 cannons and up to 800 crew members. But it also contained a surprising cargo, a tin of cheese that survived for over 300 years on the bottom of the Baltic Sea. The cheese was discovered in 2016 by a group of divers who were exploring the wreck of the Cronin, near the island of Åland. The divers were hoping to find gold or jewels, but instead, they found a tin jar buried in clay. When they brought it up to the surface, some of its contents leaked out and had a foul smell. They realized that they found a dairy product that had been preserved by the cold, dark, and low oxygen conditions of the sea. The cheese was immediately sent off to a laboratory for analysis, where researchers confirmed that it was actually a dairy product, most likely cheese or butter originally. They also tried to determine what kind of cheese it was and how it was made. The researchers said that it could have been a Roquefort-like cheese, made from sheep's milk and aged by mold. Alternatively, it could have been a hard cheese, like Parmesan or Gouda, made from cow's milk and salted for preservation. The cheese also raised several questions about the diet and culture of 17th century sailors who sailed on the Cronin. Why did they bring cheese on the ship? Was it a luxury item or a staple food? How did they store and eat it? Did they share it with other ships or keep it to themselves? The cheese is one of many fascinating artifacts that have been recovered from the Cronin, which is currently Sweden's largest underwater archaeology project. The shipwreck has yielded tens of thousands of items, like cannons, coins, weapons, tools, clothing, medicines, and human bones. The cheese is one of the most unusual and interesting finds, since it offers a look into the culinary history and preferences of the people on the Cronin. 3. The Titanic Violin. The Titanic was one of the most opulent and cutting-edge ships in history, but it also ended up being one of the most catastrophic. On April 14, 1912, the ship hit an iceberg and sank in less than 3 hours, claiming the lives of over 1,500 people. Among the victims, there were 8 musicians who played up until the very end, trying to calm passengers and crew as they faced their deaths. The leader of the band was named Wallace Hartley, a 33-year-old violinist from Lancashire, England. Hartley played in various orchestras and on other ships before joining the Titanic. He was engaged to a woman named Maria Robinson, whom he planned to marry after returning from the voyage. He brought a violin with him that she'd given him as an engagement present, with an inscription, "For Wallace, on the occasion of our engagement, from Maria." Hartley and the other musicians were not employed by the company that owned the Titanic, but by a music agency that supplied bands. They were considered second-class passengers with their own cabins on the ship. They played at different times and locations during the journey, entertaining the first and second-class passengers with a repertoire of popular tunes. When the Titanic hit the iceberg, Hartley and his band weren't on duty, but they quickly gathered on deck with their instruments. They played cheerful and lively music to prevent panic. They moved from the boat deck to the first-class lounge and then back to the deck as the ship started to tilt. They reportedly played their last song, "Nearer, My God, to Thee," as the Titanic plunged into the water. None of the musicians survived, but their bravery was widely praised and remembered. Hartley's body was recovered by a rescue ship 10 days after the disaster. He was still wearing his life jacket and holding on tightly to his violin case, which was strapped to his body. The violin was returned to Maria, who never married and kept it until her death in 1939. The violin passed through several hands until it was rediscovered in 2006 by an English auction. After extensive research and testing, it was confirmed to be Hartley's violin from the Titanic. It was displayed in multiple museums and exhibitions before being sold in 2013 for $1.7 million. The Titanic violin is more than just an instrument. It's a symbol of courage and sacrifice in the face of tragedy. It represents Hartley and his bandmates, who chose to play until the end, giving comfort and hope to those who needed it most. 2. The Kursk disaster. On August 12, 2000, a Russian nuclear submarine sank to the bottom of the Barents Sea. It was later discovered that all 118 crew members were dead. The disaster's exact origin is still a mystery. A few days before, on August 10, 2000, the Kursk sailed out of port. To perform military maneuvers, Russian aircraft, ships, and submarines gather in the Barents Sea above the Arctic Circle. Before firing a practice torpedo on August 12th, Kursk had 2 explosions in its front hull. As a result, the submarine dove down toward the ocean floor. The Kursk was around 500 feet long, or 150 meters, and carried 24,000 tons of weight. It also had 2 nuclear reactors. This was the biggest attack submarine in the world, over 3 times bigger than the largest submarines in the U.S. Navy. Several countries volunteered to help in the rescue operation, since it was uncertain what would become of the 118 Russian crew members who were on the Kursk. But the Russian government declined every offer. A week later, divers eventually discovered no evidence of life. Vladimir Putin gave in to the intense pressure and agreed to raise the submarine from the ocean floor for examination, despite the fact that no ship or item of such scale had ever been brought up from the ocean's depths before. 1. Fort Drum. An abandoned military outpost called Fort Drum, or El Fraile Island, resembles a massive, blocky battleship. It's located just off the coast of the Philippines and still has its rusted weapons in position. During the Spanish-American War, the U.S. had to strengthen its fortifications in its recently conquered areas, including Manila Bay. For this reason, they built a permanent defense base on El Fraile Island, instead of stationing expensive naval forces in the port. The island was leveled for construction, rebuilt almost entirely from scratch with reinforced concrete, and given the form of a huge warship. 2 massive artillery batteries were installed to complete the appearance. On the new island, a wooden barracks was constructed, but it was later taken down so that the swiveling weapons could move more freely. The fake ship was very defendable and had an intimidating silhouette to potential enemies. Sadly, the base was captured by Japan in World War II, and they held it until 1945 when the Allies went to reclaim Manila. The Americans poured oil and gasoline into the base and set it on fire, eradicating the last of the enemy soldiers and igniting flames that raged within the facility for days on end. This was done after the men were secured outside the fort. The war-torn Fort Drum was abandoned once Manila was retaken, leaving the burnt-out fortress to rot along with its weapons. We hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. And don't forget to leave a comment below to let us know what you think of these amazing discoveries. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.